All right, and we are back. Welcome back to another live Pin the Gas podcast. And ladies and gentlemen, this has been a long time in the making. It's always an absolute honor to see my friend at the track. Welcome, Jon Schiereck, to the podcast, bro. Dude, it's an honor to have you here.
It's nice to be here.
Yeah, listen, I remember when me and you became friends and our first ever phone call me and you had together. It's always stuck with me. And I
I
appreciate
can't even
that.
remember when that was.
I
That
do.
was
It was,
all.
it was, it was a long time ago. I think it was around October, somewhere around then. I remember I was driving, and I looked at the phone, and there you were, and it was absolutely amazing. But listen, man, me and you got so much to talk about, right? Your story is just like everybody else's. It's very unique in its own way. Okay, so as always, let's just start it off, man. Where did your journey begin on two wheels, and where did you grow up at?
Oh, okay. So I was born in South Jersey. Grew up in Miami though. My parents split when I was very young. Like 4 years old or something like that. Um, so my mom's family moved to South Florida. Actually, we were in Hawaii for like 3 months, and then in Miami. Whole other like dad's side of the family stayed up in South Jersey, which is it's a wonderful place. South Jersey is. A lot of people don't realize that they think they hear New Jersey, they think Newark, and
Yeah.
South Jersey, everyone hunts deer in their backyard, pretty much. But anyway, grew up in Miami, but my dad heavily involved in vehicles, like his whole life. He taught for General Motors. He was a Lamborghini technician and Mercedes and everything else. And he even went down to he was down in the islands, like the Virgin Islands and some of the islands down in the Caribbean, when I was a little kid. Because instead of sending 20 technicians from the Caribbean to the United States for training, they sent one instructor down there for General Motors. But anyway, at the same time, or just immediately after that, he ended up being a crew chief for Pro Alcohol, Phony Car, and Top Fuel. And so whenever they were close by, like I think I remember it's like maybe 6 years old. My very first racetrack experience was at the Gator Nationals with earplugs in, headphones on, and like hiding behind someone on the line. So with 8,000 back then, anywhere between like 6 to 8,000. Now they're upwards of like 11, 12,000 horsepower.
It's crazy.
But yeah, it's actually not that crazy.
It's not, but it's like,
Sounds really crazy and insane to be capable of that. In all reality, it's very difficult to do that, but it's not hard,
crazy. Yeah.
But so yeah, so I kind of grew up with that, and then spending all my summers with him and all my spring breaks and all that stuff, just going back and forth. So yeah, I was always interested in cars growing up. And I think my very first actual motorcycle experience was I was a senior in high school. It was like maybe like around Christmas time. And I was just backing into the gym parking lot in a warehouse district near my house to go to the gym, and some like motorcycle technician guy or something like that was taking a test ride / joyride on I remember it was like a 2003 or 04. I didn't know at the time. Now I know. ZX6R. And he came around the corner and just opened that throttle up, and he hit the front of my car like at an angle, at an
Shit.
insane speed. Like he left I think it was like a 60-foot skid mark, totaled my Mitsubishi Eclipse that I had, and that he flew like I don't know how far through the air. It was crazy. Like head hit a rip. He flew over like a dumpster, everything. And then I had no car and stuff like that. And the insurance paid out to like my mom and my stepdad. And I was like, I think like a week or two later, I was like, I think I want a motorcycle now.
And they were like, wait, what?
Die.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, I want a motorcycle. And then so we ended up, it was a 2000 Triumph TT 600.
My buddy had one of those in high school. Yeah.
It was gorgeous.
Yes. Yellow. He had a yellow one.
Yeah, I had the silver and blue.
Okay. Yeah. Beautiful bikes, man.
They were now if you go back and look, you're like, ugh, what were they with the weird snorkel thing sticking out? But I actually rode one like maybe like 3 or 4 years ago for the first time since then, and I was just appalled. It was just weird. It was terrible.
Yeah.
But
back then we didn't know no better.
Oh, it was so that was a cool bike back then. I mean, that its competition was like the Ducati 748.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah, got one of those. I was the only kid in high school with one. And around the same time, another friend of mine whose mom happened to work with my mom, he had been road racing for a long time, like cars. Like when he was 12, I think he was like the 125cc shifter cart national champion. His name's Nick. I won't give out his last name because he was a police officer after that. He's done a lot of cool stuff after that. But he was working, doing road racing in like cars, and asked me if I wanted to work with that team that he was working with. So they happened to be in South Florida in Miami, not too far away at the shop. I got there and I was like, oh my God. Like I had been in like at a mechanic shop or something. You walk in the garage, it has a very specific smell to it. It's concrete, you got your lifts and you've got like, oil container. It you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Joe Schmo mechanics shop with like a 3-bay shop. I walked into this building and I was like, oh my God, there was one of two in the country at the time, M3 GTRs on the wall sideways. Like they had drained all the fluids and they were storing it sideways for display. And they were driving at the same time. But it was the car that we were going to be working with was a Daytona prototype. I think it was a Riley chassis. I'm not entirely sure about that. Might have been a DeLorean. But I do remember it had a D-stroked LS1 engine, the 5.3. Running a Motec engine management system. And but anyway, I was like, oh, cool. So I just started doing the little bitch shopkeeper 18-year-old stuff there. And we went and tested at Homestead before the first race of the year, which was the 24 Hours of Daytona. So we did like 3 or 4 days of testing at Homestead. And that was like a very unique experience because it was the first time I think I got really lucky where I just got like, I've always been thrust into like a situation where if you're observant and you pay attention, and you've got a, good education, and you understand the world around you, and you can observe what's going on, you can kind of see things and be like, oh, wow, that's how they do that. So like testing at Homestead Motor Speedway, we had a guy with us from Germany. He was an aerospace engineer. And I'll never forget this. He took Lucas engine oil additive on this $1 million car and put drops of it all over the car so that you could see what the air was doing over the body. And then he had all these little fins that were like, anywhere from 1 inch to 2 inch, 1.5 inch, 3 inch, and different widths. And depending on what the oil was doing on the car, he would stick these little things everywhere and then do it again. And then they go around on the oval and then either move things or that was good, that was bad, stuff like that. And so that was kind of like my first introduction into like what aerodynamics, kind of how it really works. And you can't always see, you have an idea of what air is doing over the body of a vehicle. You're not always, sometimes smoother isn't better. Sometimes, so there's a lot of factors in there, but that was like a cool experience. And then like a couple weeks later, we went to Daytona, and Forrest Barber was the owner of the car. Jim Bell was the team owner. It was Bell Motorsports. And the three main drivers were Terry Borscheller, Andy Pilgrim, and Christian Fittipaldi. I have no notes, and this is from 21 years ago or so. I still, I remember everyone. And it was crazy. We won the 24 Hours of Daytona overall. We were in second place with like a half hour left. And the car that one of the drivers was Tony Stewart. He was driving. They broke like one of the rear suspension units, and the car collapsed and spun, and we coasted to the win. And it was a crazy weekend. Like there was one moment where I think it was Terry Borscheller was driving it, got moved off track, hit like a. I remember that. So way back then, that turn one entrance at Daytona on the road course, that used to not be asphalt or concrete or asphalt. That was grass. That turn. So if you went off, there was like a curb there, and there was grass. And he went off, hit a berm, car went airborne, slammed nose first into the grass, and then just filled the whole front like radiator intake duct, the whole thing with dirt and grass and everything. And so immediately he got back on track, came around, hit it in, and we took the front nose off, and we realized, oh my God, what's going, like the whole radiator. I think Nick and I had this crazy idea. We just like grabbed one of the like 90-gallon coolers or whatever, pulled all the drinks out of it real fast, and just lifted this thing up and dumped a giant thing of ice water onto the radiator. It flushed all the dirt and grass and everything out the front end. And then at the same time, the guys were doing tires and fuel, and we popped the thing on, and like that saved the car at the moment. And then we worked our way back up. And another really crazy thing from that weekend or that night was it was raining, which anytime you're doing a 24-hour endurance race, I mean, it's no matter where in the world almost, it feels like at night it's gonna rain. It's a weird thing. It was raining, and we had the Rain-X like remember the Rain-X like anti-fog? So that was on the inside of the windscreen. It didn't work. Christian Fittipaldi at like 175 miles an hour in the rain on the banking at Daytona had the windscreen fogging up on the inside. And we just looked around and found like a wooden mop thing, broke the end off of it and tied a rag around it and snapped the thing in half. So it was like 3 feet long or something like that, and tossed it into the cockpit. Like
they said, there you go.
And Christian was going around at Daytona, shifting, and then grabbing this rag on the end of a stick and cleaning the fog off of the inside of his windscreen at 175 miles an hour in the rain and driving around. And yeah, like, and then, so it was an interesting thing. And I'll never forget one of the things Nick said to me. He's like, I'm so jealous of you, man. I'm like, what? Why? I'm just here with you. Like, and I'm not anyone. Like, we're here. He goes, no, you don't understand. This is your first big race where you're part of a team and you just won the 24 hours of Daytona. Like, over. And so I was like, oh, cool. Okay. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah. So
yeah.
That was that. And we finished out high school, and I wanted to do a whole lot of different things. I ended up just like, I just wanted to just go right into the military. I wanted to go to Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. Visited the campus like I think 2 times.
It's where my dad went.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a great place. But I just went right into the Navy. I was just do that thing.
What'd you do in the Navy?
I was a search and rescue swimmer. I was a gunner's mate, and then I went to search and rescue swimmer school, and then I ended up. It's weird. Anyone that knows anything will be like, "That's weird." But I ended up flying a lot, like with the as a gunner's mate with AWs. Is strange, but that was on my second deployment. Second deployment, I was in Iraq. The first deployment, we were doing counter narcotics down in South America, in the Caribbean. It was in like Panama, Honduras, Trinidad, Colombia. I can't remember where else. I was in Mexico for a second. But yeah, so that's what I did. And then I was the 2007. I was in Iraq. Lived in Bahrain for a little bit before that, which was pretty neat. Got to live in the Sheraton Hotel in Bahrain.
Never been to Bahrain. I heard it's awesome.
At the time, it was kind of like living in, in like I don't even know how to describe it. It was weird. Every kind of restaurant that you would think you'd go to, it was just like a fast food type, or not fast food, but like chains places.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you could go to Applebee's there. So weird, like in Bahrain, you know, it was a weird thing. But fortunately, like instead of living like in a barracks or something on base, I stayed at the Sheraton Hotel. Had a lot of other buddies with a lot of connections. Hung out with the dog handlers a little bit. Hung out at the range a lot there. But yeah, and then took a helicopter up to the Northern Arabian Gulf and spent some time up there.
Love it, man. Thank you for your service, my friend. Absolutely. It means a lot to everybody. Because without you doing what you do and everybody else doing it, we wouldn't be able to have this conversation and talk about what we love, which is racing and shit, anything and everything in life, right? So, Yeah, man. So after the service, man, high school, how'd you
Yeah.
get
So
into?
while I was, um, I think like soon as I finished boot camp, I like every idiot young sailor, marine, soldier, guardsman, I was like, oh, I gotta buy another motorcycle. Oh, so right before I left Miami, my Triumph was stolen
Oh
out of
no.
out of the driveway. That so um and but yeah, I think the guy actually died on it. So uh
Sucks, man.
it happens.
It does.
Um but yeah, they actually they stole like like a Econoline van a couple blocks away, and then it's really nice neighborhood. All that. They stole like an Econoline van, and then on their way out of the neighborhood, went, "Oh, when the opportunity presents itself, take it." So they grabbed the bike, and tossed it in the van. So,
Can't stand a
but
thief, man.
yeah. So while I was in, like, I got another bike. I got a Honda like CBR 600RR, like an '03, and uh, put this up. Rode that on the street, made a bunch of friends there. This was in Jacksonville, and
I lived in Jacksonville,
yeah.
Orange Park South.
Oh
Yep.
yeah. Okay, so you were near NAS Jacks,
Yep.
where I was at for a little bit
Yep.
too. So I was in Jacksonville, at NAS Jacks, and Mayport, and NAS Jacks. That 45-minute drive back and
Yep.
forth from Mayport to NAS Jacks was a constant thing.
Constant struggle.
Yeah. Oh wait, hold on one second.
Now you're good, bro. You are good, my friend. Yeah, I mean, fortunately I've never had my bike stolen or anything. I've had buddies that had their bikes ripped off. It's always a heartbreaking moment for sure. Some of my buddies didn't have insurance on their bikes, some of them did. So that's why I keep telling man, just put full coverage, dude. It's cheap. Might as well have it,
Uh, if it gets, oh well, I'd never had a bike stolen after that because I need to keep, a hold of, like a grasp on it and not leave it outside. Um, but I ended up with that Honda. I ended up doing some track days with it at Jennings, which was very close by.
Yep.
And then ended up like stripping it, turning it into a track bike completely. And then I had a collision with it. I think this was like in 05 or 06. Had a collision with a guy at Jennings, turn 2, and went off the track, hit like one of those holes out there at that track that's like gopher holes or whatever. Yeah. Pogo the bike 10, 15 feet in the air. Me too. Cracked all the way through my Swami helmet, like all the way through on the inside. Knocked out cold. Bike was destroyed. Sold that, and then ended up getting like a R6 after that. 06, like 50th anniversary or something like that. And then kind of rode that and then turned that into a track day bike. So put body work on it, a whole bunch of other stuff, and then rode that throughout everything. Got out of the military in like October 08, and started going to school in Miami and working at a motorcycle shop there. And that's when the really weird part of like how I got into motorcycle racing happened. Robertino Pietri's uncle came in with something, and he just casually mentioned, "Oh, my nephew races for an AMA superbike or something like that." And I was like, "Oh, cool! Like that's awesome. I always wanted to see that or be a part of that." And so I was like, I have a bike, you know, I'd love to meet him, and this and that. So Tino came in a couple weeks later, and he wanted to go road race, or he was just starting up. That it was just right at the beginning of the 2009 season, and he was racing an R6 at ESP, Evansville Performance. And I was like, oh, I have an R6. If you want to ride that here in Miami, in South Florida, like at the CCS races and stuff, for practice, everything. So we ended up doing that.
And so that's how y'all became friends. Y'all been friends for a long time. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. And so that's when that happened. And it was the strangest thing, because remember, I like my first thing road racing was the 24 Hours of Daytona, and then went like just showed up with this race bike that I built, and it wasn't even a real race. Like, I'd be embarrassed of it now, you know. And Tino hopped on the thing and like won every race by like 6 seconds and this and that. And I was like, this is really easy. Wow. I didn't realize, like, you know, who he really was. But yeah. So then I did that throughout the season, and just CCS, where I got to know a lot of people, and then ended up going to work for Sean Prieto at Prieto Performance up in Fort Lauderdale, which is right next to GMD Coffee Track, Fort Lauderdale, Eric Gray. And that's how I got to know Eric and everyone else. And so I started building engines there. I was the engine builder. And then we just dominated with between Robert Tito Pietri and David. Oh man, he's gonna slaughter me if he ever sees it. Yeah. But Santiago was the biggest one, and Robertino. And anyway, that was an amazing experience. And that was like the 2010 season. And 2009 season. Because I went up there like right at the beginning of 2009. And we did that. And it was towards the end of the 2009 season. I got really heavy into like doing this all on my own, like learning everything I could about how ECUs work, how like all the electronics aspect. Because I've been doing engines again, like I grew up with my dad doing like 10,000 horses. So like that was very easy thing for me. And then picking out little subtle things, but like the electronic side, that was a new thing. So I just started playing around and learning, and I ended up becoming like really good at it within a very short amount of time. And when was it? Oh, so I was still working at Prieto, and I was at the CCS Race of Champions with Tino also that year, 09. It was after the season. Tino's going to get so pissed at me for saying this, but I had like a slight couple modifications to that engine that weren't exactly legal. But it wasn't like a 2 mil over engine. It was a stock bore, stock this, stock, we ended up winning 4 out of the 5 races that we entered. The 5th race that we did not win was because Tino said, I feel bad for everyone else. I want to let them win. So we did not enter it. That's
I don't want to get protested. We're good.
It's too late, guys.
Yeah, right.
Jeff, I remember Jeff Wood. They were right next to us, Jeff and Eric, and in the garages. And Jeff wandered over and he was like, "Is that Superbike engine?" Nope, it's not. Wasn't lying either. He's like, "Cause I can't." I'm right behind him, and my Superbike is having a hard time drafting him. And I'm like, I don't know what to tell you, dude. Sorry. But yeah, so that was that. Then fast forward the March before like the Daytona 200 weekend and everything. I can't remember if they still do it. CCS used to have an event the week before the AMA weekend. So everyone was there testing and racing in the CCS races. Usually they, really like Superbike guys stuff. If they were riding there, they'd pull in on the last lap of one of the races and stuff so that the guys could. Anyway, someone blew up an engine and they were having guys go around the paddock to try to find an R6 engine. And I happened to be there with one of my bikes and I was like, oh, I got one. So this was LTD Racing, which is a new team. They were created the year before in 09. And the way that team was created was you had the Red Bull Rookie Cup. And at the end of 2008, that just disappeared. It went away. So all the kids that were doing that, so like Tommy Puerta, Joey
JD
Pascarella,
Beach,
JD Beach,
Cam Bobier. I know, I remember that.
Holly Nash.
I was there at VIR when Red Bull Rookie Cup was there with them. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep.
So when that happened, they were all left without rides. For the 09 season, I believe Cam Bobier and JD Beach.
Yamaha.
They were on a Yamaha. Yeah. It was Rockwell.
Yep, Rockwell Yamaha.
And the other kids, Melvin Nash is a absolutely amazing lawyer. If you're ever in trouble in Atlanta or the surrounding counties,
hit him up.
That's the guy. He was like, I'll create a team, finance this whole thing. So for his son and for Gagne, Pascarella, Puerta, and then also his son, his Huntley's older brother, Sam Nash, rode on as well. But they were all there and they needed an engine. So we did it. They were doing an engine swap with my engine in a little like 6x or 8x4 trailer, like a little tiny thing in the RV area at Daytona. Because you couldn't work on the bikes past a certain time in the garages, and you also couldn't work on the bikes past a certain time on the facility at all. So we had there was like a spotter outside, would bang on the door if like security was coming around, so we would stop making noise. And I was just standing there, and as they were doing the engine swap into Pascarella's bike, I just was like, you know, if you move that over there and you route this like this, and you do that, and you know, all these little things. And Jason Parker was like, "You want a job?" I was like, "Sure." I was like, "What's up?" And he goes, "None of our quick shifters work at all." So they had just recently gone to the kit like YEC ECUs, and they had all new quick shifters. They had PC5 quick shifters, just the sensor. And I didn't know what the problem was. I just said, yeah, I can fix that, without knowing what the problem was, without knowing anything. Yeah,
I got it.
I think I can handle that. So then the whole next day, I just kept looking at everything and analyzing. They're going around track. I tried a couple things, it didn't work. And then finally something occurred to me. They had PC3. This is so long ago. Like the Power Commander 3 shift sensors. They were normally closed, and then, or they were normally open and then they went closed, which means they had a rise in voltage. And the PC5s, the way that Power Commander or DynoJet did it, so that you couldn't use your old quick shift sensor with from your PC3 with your new PC5 or vice versa, was they reversed it from normally open to close, and then they made it like normally closed to open. So there was just this one little table in the YEC software. It said shift voltage 2.5, and I had an epiphany moment. I'm sure 100 people already knew this, but no one there did. No one in the paddock knew why they weren't working. No one knew. No one could help. I put a negative sign in front of it to where it was just looking for a change of an increase in 2.5 volts. And I was like, what if there's a decrease in 2.5 volts? And it worked. And then the next weekend in AMA Supersport, out of the 2 races, 5 of the 6 podium positions were all LTD racing. And on Sunday, all 3, it was the first and I believe the only time a team has swept a podium. Not only at Daytona, but I think ever.
That's awesome.
In any of AMA or Moto America.
What a
Someone
feat.
could check me on that, but I believe that's the case. So, but and that's how I got started in road racing with motorcycles.
I love it. And you've been in the paddock ever since.
Yeah, off and on. I mean, I've taken some breaks, but I from that moment on, all the way through 2013. So for 4 years straight, that's what I did. With LTD racing for the most part. Met Stefano Mesa in that 2010 season.
Legend.
Yeah. I met him at Jennings, and they had an issue with his bike during a CCS race, and I just randomly walked up to his parents, I think, his mom or his dad, and I was like, yeah, I could help you with that, and I know how to fix that. I think I did, and then became friends, and then I ended up building his R6 forums. His first actual, he had an R6, but built his first real R6, and took him to his first AMA Pro race, which was at New Jersey that year, and then took him to went to Barber with him. Yeah, and then he his parents had to go to Colombia, and they left him with because buddy Nigel and myself to kind of like make sure that 2010 CCS Race of Champions went well. And on Friday, the engine spun a rod bearing in practice. And he was such a sweet kid then and now. He's not a kid anymore. He's freaking totally amazing grown man now.
Yes, he is.
But to me, he'll always be that kid. He goes, oh, I guess I'm not gonna race this weekend, huh, John? And I was like, yes, you are. And so I pulled the engine out of it, and I drove like 2 hours up to the shop, Prieto Performance in Fort Lauderdale, because it was the 1 year that the CCS Race of Champions was in Miami because they were repaving Daytona. So that night, I just stayed up all night, stripped the whole engine apart, cleaned cases, everything, new main bearings, new rod bearings, new rods, new crankshaft, because it destroyed everything. New oil pump, new oil cooler that went through the entire engine, rebuilt everything, finished it I think at like 5 in the morning or something like that. Then I drove back down to Homestead, we put it in the bike, and then he went and he won like 3 or 4. He won all of his races on that R6. So he won all of his national championship titles on that Saturday and Sunday. So he won 3 or 4 with that R6, and then he won 1 or 2, because I think it was like 5 in total. He won 1 or 2 on like his RS125 and or his Milwaukee 250 that he had. So
yeah, he's an absolute legend. And his parents, Karen, is
they're fantastic.
Absolutely, man. I can't wait to see him at Daytona for sure. 110%. Yeah, and then talk to me a little bit about EDR.
That's funny. About EDR?
Well, I mean, how did you get a job there? What was your main role? And a little bit about how you and AJP.
That's very recent. There's a big gap.
Okay.
But yeah, we could jump. That's
no, fill in the gap first.
Yeah,
we'll get there.
There's not a lot of.
Okay.
It's yeah. I mean, like, I kind of got out of went back and it was just like, so end of 2012, I went and worked with Fuzzy, Mike Castro, and this guy Howard Crow had just recently bought Ducati Seattle, and they wanted 2 actual like race technician guys to go work in the service department because it was terrible. Everything was terrible. So they gotten rid of everyone, and so Fuzzy and I were up there, and we did that. So I was there at Ducati Seattle for a while. Came back down to Miami in 2014 to try to have a shop. It didn't work out because the partner I had was a horrendous, terrible person. But I got a phone call or an email from Melvin Nash again later towards the end of that year about Huntley doing Superbike again. And I was like, well, let's do it on a 1199 at Ducati. I thought, like, and I still think at the time it was probably one of the best platforms, but no one had ever attempted it really at that point. I think there was one some guy that tried to do something with Holden. And that was after we had brought Holden up to the Pacific Northwest to test out an 1199 race bike that we had built, that Fuzzy and I built at Ducati Seattle. Holden ended up like first day, like breaking the overall lap record at Portland International.
Jake Holden, yeah.
Then I took Huntley, and that was crazy. That build, that was with Motec, and that was like one of my first introductions with that. I had to learn all of that in just a couple months on a vehicle that doesn't have a crank position sensor, isn't exactly great at determining what cylinder is on what stroke and this and that. But got it all figured out. So Ben Fox helped a lot with that. I ended up at one point, though, I had to literally drive that bike in the back of my truck from Miami to North Carolina to Motec's headquarters. So we were having some serious issues just getting it to run. I'm sure a lot of people know this or don't. Like, it's not like on a Yamaha R6 or like there's not like a camshaft position sensor. So getting the synchronization of where the crankshaft is and on what stroke, what cylinder's on, you have to go off of the manifold air pressure of that cylinder, so the vacuum of it. And it, especially the bigger that engine is, it gets a little bit more difficult. So, like the precision of it, just to get it to run. I think that bike still to this day, it is sitting in Melvin Nash's basement. And I think you still have to hook up a car battery to it and crank it for like 30 minutes. When it was cold, it would not start. When it was warmed up, start up immediately. So like that whole season, the daily morning routine was cranking it with spark plugs out for a long time, and then putting plugs in, and then still cranking it, and then it'd start to poof, and then it was a 30-minute startup routine.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's absolutely. I had a 1098S, and it was one of my favorite Ducatis I had besides my 996. It was a monster of a bike for sure. Raw, emotional. That's what I loved about it.
Yeah, I a long time ago, I hated Ducatis, but I think that's what everyone does. That gets like is when they're brand new into riding, they get told things, and honestly,
it scares them away and it puts them off. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, especially the older Ducatis, partially true, but that bad reputation stuck for a long time. And I mean, I don't want to sound like an ambassador for Ducati, but I don't think there's a better overall of any motorcycle, especially. I know, especially from like 2000, when after Audi bought them and started changing a lot of things, and they went away from using Magneti Marelli ECUs, went into Mitsubishi with the Infineon microcore processor, and then later on like Continental and some Bosch. Those things are incredibly reliable and last forever. I mean, a couple of years ago, I did a Desmo service on one at Beverly Hills. That thing it was an 1199 with 65 100,000 miles on it.
I love it. I love it, man. It's absolutely awesome. My first ZX6R 96, I put like 103,000 miles on it before I threw a rod at it.
Yeah.
But I'm super anal about my bikes. It's like every summer and winter,
Yeah.
I flush everything, brake fluid, clutch fluid, everything gets flushed, maintained, wiped down, blah 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 blah.
As long as you do the maintenance on these things, that's what I tell everyone.
Yeah,
as long as you do the maintenance, the
you're
correct
good.
maintenance, and you keep up on, keep track of things, you generally won't have any issues
Yep.
with almost any model
Yep.
of anything, you know. But I do want to say, like, I used to be the biggest Ducati hater 15 years ago, and now after working with them for about 10, 12, 13 years, and then everything else at the same time, I don't think there's a better brand and better quality that exists.
I
So
agree, 110%. So yeah, 100%. They're definitely unique women. That's why I prefer to motorcycles as women, right? They're absolutely beautiful and unique in their own way. You know,
I got told by I got a old friend of mine. She taught me, like, if you have a Ducati, especially a race bike, you have to name it, and it has to be an Italian woman's name. So anyone that's got one, you have to name them, and it has to be an Italian. It's bad luck if you don't. So
there you go. I love it, man. I love it. Yeah, I mean, it's you know, I work on my own Ducatis, but I've never done a valve adjustment on one.
Super easy.
Yeah, that's what I hear. Yeah, I mean, I do valve adjustments on my RC51 and all the Japanese bikes, but never done one on a duck. I take the swing arm off, and I mean, I do most everything else but that, pretty much. So yeah, it's and nothing sounds like a Ducati at full chat's what I say. Man, they sound so amazing. Those, and honestly, the Aprilias, man, they sound really good too. The Triumphs sound really good. They're just different. They got their own unique sound.
Yeah, it's the engine layout and the fire.
It is. Yeah, absolutely it is. So freaking yeah.
I mean, that's why a inline 3-cylinder MV Agusta sounds different than an inline 3-cylinder Triumph. It actually have a slightly different firing order, you know. So, and then you got your 65-degree V4 Aprilias, 90-degree V twin and V4 guys.
Twins. Yeah. I love it, man. I love it, man. So how'd you end up at EDR in Portland?
I was at Beverly Hills Ducati, which is Fuzzy contacted me one day out of the blue during COVID, like in 2020, or like the end of 2020, like COVID, and he's like, "Hey, I have to go do something. Do you want to work at Beverly Hills?" I was like, "Okay." Because no one was doing anything really at the time.
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah, I just ended up going there. They needed help. John and Christine. By the way, John and Christine, who own Beverly Hills Ducati, two of the nicest people in the entire world. And they run a fantastic mom and pop size little dealership. If you think about a lot of people at Beverly Hills Ducati, they think it's big. It's like, no, it's this little tiny mom and pop place that just happens to be in Beverly Hills, which is technically not in Beverly Hills. It's just a little bit to the side, but that's a really cool place. But while I was there, LA was really too much. It was really getting to me. Between the crazy amount of crime and crazy people there, and everything, and the cost of living
It's ridiculous.
yeah, the gas station that was right next to the dealership was at the time the most expensive gas station in the country. It was like while I was there, it was something like, it was almost $9. It was like $8.80 advertised, something like per gallon.
That's ridiculous
for regular, like it was insane. So like I don't know how normal people survive there. It's hard. So I just saw an ad for EDR, and sent an email and ended up
in Portland.
Yeah, because I had known Eric for I think I met him back in like 2011, something like that. I'd known him for a while.
Yeah.
So I ended up there.
Yeah, EDR. That's actually the 848 that I have.
I know.
Yeah, a buddy of mine hit me up and was selling it. He actually, real quick side story. He calls me up. He's like, "Hey, I knew he had it." He's like, "Man, I got the 848. I think the motor's blown in it, man. You know, nobody want to trade it for a 250 or a 300?" And I was like, "Whoa, what do you mean trade it? Like, you gonna give that bike up?" And I seen the build sheet. I was like, "You're gonna give that bike up for a 250 or 300?" He's like, "Yeah, man. I just don't want to sink no money into it." Blah blah blah. So, how much do you want for it? He said, "I give it to you for $1,500. I said, "I'll come tomorrow and pick it up." And that's how I ended up having it.
They're great bikes. They're really good bikes.
Yeah. You'll see it when you come.
I'm sure I will.
So yeah, sure. For sure. Yeah, it's yeah, man. I couldn't believe it. Like the build sheet on that bike and the quantity of parts that's in that thing. I was like, dude, yeah, it's just insane. But I love it.
Yeah. You gotta get it running again, right?
Yeah. So I had the money to get the motor fixed, but I bought an RC51 with the money.
That's right. Yeah.
So
that's right.
Yeah.
Which I think RC51, as much as I love Ducati, it's a cooler bike. I think
yeah. I mean, it's it's unique. Obviously, it's there's not very many Hondas out there stamped HRC on the side cases, right, of the motor, and
yeah,
it's
built. If you have the opportunity these days to get one for a decent price.
Mine's a 03. It had 15,700 miles on it when I bought it, and I paid $6,500.
So that's like the SP2.
Yep.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
That's
She's mint. She's mint for sure. You'll see. She's mint. I don't ride her very much.
So silver. Is it still all original?
All the only thing it's got the of course I did my normal stuff like the clip-ons. I put a Brembo Master, a Maguire HC1 clutch master, after my Oblivion slave cylinder, stainless steel clutch line, new brakes, flushed the whole thing out, did the Corbin seat on it, the double bubble screen with the Pendergast stickers on it, did the what else did I do to it? Keyless gas cap. Well, that's basically it. Oh, and it's got the 2-into-1 original Jardine exhaust full system on it. So I took the Jardine canister off of it. My buddy had was it a 2011 20, I forget what year it was. It might have been a 16 Praia Tuano with a full titanium Graves exhaust on it, right? And he took the Graves canister off of it, and the canister, it come out and it made this funny bend, right? And he's like, dude, I got rid of the bike. Do you want this canister? I'm gonna throw it away. And I was like, yeah, absolutely, I'll take it. If anything, it'll be a garage piece, right? So I'm sitting in my garage one night and I took the Jardine exhaust and I'm looking at that Graves pipe. I was like, man, I could cut the end of that off. So I measured it and I measured that. And I was like, dude, it'll slip straight on there if I cut this pipe off. So I cut the end of it off. And yeah, that's what I got. And it totally changed the sound of it. Sounds like a little mini V8 now. It's absolutely insane.
I think the coolest like muffler modification I ever did was, it was so loud, but it had a very unique sound. I think it was Tino had crashed my R6. I had a Kropovic exhaust on it, and it ruined the muffler on the side at the end, and like put a hole in it on the carbon. I sawed the thing off, and then I realized like this was so long ago. I couldn't, no matter what I did, I couldn't get everything back. Like it started coming out, and I was just, so I ripped it all out, and it ended up being just the through pipe with the carbon canister. It was only like this long with the end cap, and there was nothing in there. It was like a carbon fiber resonating chamber, and that sounded so unique and loud. But it wasn't that loud at a wide open, believe it or not. It didn't sound too much louder.
Yeah,
it was just louder at idle and
low res. Yeah.
Yeah.
As soon as you pick it up, it's that bark, that bar. You're like, shit. Yeah, I love it, dude. It was funny because I was actually, the last time I rode her, I was riding her home from work, and of course I was, dude, you know, it's not hard to speed, especially on a twin, because it's not loud like an inline four, right? That's what I tell people. When you ride an inline four, psychologically, as it gets louder, you're like, fuck, I'm hauling ass because of the volume of the sound, right? Where a twin, it's just that deep, so you don't feel like you're going that fast. You look down, you're like, fuck, I'm doing 53 and a 35 without even realizing you're even speeding, right? So I look down in my rear view, man, I see a cop right behind me. I was like, shit, dude, you dumbass. I'm getting ready to get pulled over. I pull up to the stoplight. As I'm approaching the stoplight, he pulls up beside me. He rolls down his window, John. He looks at me. He says, dude, nice bike, man. I ain't seen an RC51 in a long time. She is beautiful. And I was like, thanks, bro. He's like, oh, and by the way, slow down. I was like, thanks, bro. I appreciate it. He's like, yeah, man, have fun. I was like, thanks. So yeah, it's I get complimented on it because not a lot of people, especially these day and age, these, you know, young adults have no idea what an RC51. You pull up on it, say it's a twin. They're like, what the hell is that thing? Well, I've never seen that before, you know? And yeah, I do love it.
They are so fun to ride.
They are. They are.
To make it competitive on track, very different story. But did you take the
snorkel?
Little torsion springs off your gears yet? No?
Mm-mm.
Oh, the thing will whine so much louder.
If you do what now?
So you have gear driven camshafts, right?
Yep.
So on those gears, there's like a wave washer. It kind of like acts like as like a little torsion spring.
Yeah.
It's got pressure to keep them in there.
Yep.
Take that out so the gears can move around a little bit. The thing whines like you would not believe. It sounds
really
amazing. It doesn't hurt anything.
No, yeah. You have to show me when you come over for sure.
Really, really easy thing to do.
Mod, yeah. Freaking awesome, man. So, you know, I love all the videos you put out when you was working at EDR, man. You're an absolute magician when it comes to obviously the electronics and a masterpiece at putting motorcycles back together. How clean they look. It's truly amazing what you do. I love it, man.
I try to make things look nice.
And to me, outside looking in, I'm a mechanic and looking at it, to me, when you craft a motorcycle and you work on it uniquely as you do, you make it to where it's easy to understand from everybody that's going to touch it and work on it. Everything's easy to get to. There's nothing, too difficult to work on. It's just my point of view of looking at it.
Yeah. So that's because I've been like building race orientated vehicles for such a long time. Everything that I do, I always have to think to yourself, okay, when I have to take this off or change it or service it or whatever, how much of a pain in the ass is this going to be? And how can I make it not a pain in the ass? I mean, that's putting it a very blunt way, but you have to do things like that. A lot of people are just like, oh, this goes here and I'll put it there. And it's like, if you're going to build a wire harness, build it so that you can access things, so that you can, if I do a proper built Ducati 1199 race bike, you could do an engine swap in under 10 minutes, like taking your time. I mean, like legit taking your time. All you have to do is pop the bodywork off, and your spare engine has exhaust. The radiator's already bled. All the sensors and everything else, everything's already there. Swing arms attached. Everything's there. All you have to do, pop the bodywork off, subframe off, and tank off, and then just take the 4 nuts off the frame, lift the frame up, and then literally like the front end, and just roll it over onto the other one and plop it down. Tighten those nuts and 8 washers up, bolt the subframe on,
Tank, bodywork, we're good to go.
Yeah, it's super easy to do. And I mean, you could do an R6 the same way. Like on an R6, I got a funny story about R6 in a minute. But on an R6, you can have the cooling system on there, already bled, everything done, exhaust on there, your swing, not the swing arms on, obviously, the frame, but you can have the engine ready to go, where like the longest time consuming things are the engine with the cooling system, like the radiator, connecting those hoses, bleeding that, and putting the exhaust on, which start getting it out of order, and all the other stuff. You can preset everything. So like the cooling system on an R6, the only thing that's in your way is the left-hand side coolant hose, which has that big aluminum
bar
piece. You could, I mean, we just put like the dry brake fittings on it. So you just dry brake it and then slide it through the frame on the way out, and a new one through the frame.
Yep, connect it and you're good to go.
Just like a dry brake fitting,
which
most people know about.
Yeah.
So you can,
I love it, man. That's one thing that to me, especially about the older model Ducatis, right? Like the 916s, 748s. I mean, you could have that thing totally stripped down in literally minutes, no problem.
They're incredibly easy. Those are, man. I've got a friend of mine. He just sold it. He had a newer V2 for his track days.
Yeah.
And he was like, this thing is a big pain in the ass to work on. It took me freaking 3 hours and I'm like, bro, that's like 10 minutes to do on that bike. Like, as long as you got the little, there's not even special tools, just having the right tools. Because there's a difference. Like there's special tools, and the right tools, which means like, okay, your 154 piece Craftsman set is not necessarily going to have the right tools in it, you know. But I'm like, that thing's so easy to work on. They're all the Ducatis. They're so easy to work on. You just, I mean, most of them are. The only things that one bike I absolutely hate working on and doing one specific thing is, I hate the like older original like CBR 1000 RRs. You got to do like a valve adjustment on that thing.
It's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, same thing with the older ZX10s.
That's what I was going to say. Yep. It's
way.
in the way. It's like, how am I going to get the cam cover off? Oh, you got to pull the 2 pins out and swivel the motor down. It's like
getting the air boxes on those Hondas.
Oh, yeah. My cousin had one, and of course he's like, I need you to adjust the valves on it. And I was like, okay. And I was like, almost, it was like a SpongeBob 3 days later. You know what I'm saying? It didn't really take me 3 days, but it seemed like it. It was a long time.
You do it once, and then you're like, oh, this is 2 hours next time.
Yeah. But your first time it's like working on a going your first time. You're lost. You're like, what?
Oh my God. There was back in like when Eric Gray still had his G&D CompuTrack at Fort Lauderdale, a guy brought him a gold wing with 90-something thousand miles on it, and it was only a year old.
Holy shit!
Yeah, the guy did those iron butt rallies.
Okay,
where they do 1,000 miles a day for like a week straight, and that's all this guy did. He was retired, and he just did that. And he wanted a Penske shock or something put on it. So Eric was like, I remember he came over. I think he like knocked on the door next door, and was like, "Hey, you help me tonight? Something?" I was like, "Yeah, sure, no problem. I'll be over in a couple hours when I finish up this Juice XR engine or something." Yeah. And I remember walking over and he like, "So I need help putting a shock in this," and I'm like, "Where is the shock?"
Right, where is the shock on this thing?
Yeah.
I feel your pain, bro. Trust me.
I was like, yeah, where is it? Like, changing the shock out on that was like if you had to change out like a crank position sensor on like a V8 engine that like where the sensors like on top of the bell housing of the transmission
in the back. Yes.
Completely blind, and but it was like that on this thing where you're like, you could only see like
the bottom
15 to 20% of the entire shock from any angle you went to, you know? So you're like, you gotta have someone up here looking down to like tell you where your fingers are and stuff. And then you're trying to,
pain in the ass for sure. That was the worst bike I ever worked on. I remember I was still at MMI, and I'm working at the dealership, and the dude's like, "Yeah, this guy brought in this Gold Wing. He says it's got an oil leak. Write it down to the car wash and spray it off. See if you see any oil leaking from it." And I was like, "Never fucking rode a Gold Wing before, but okay, let's go." And man, I hated that thing. Like, just because, man, I'm 5'11", right? But it's still a tall bike. And picking it up, I was like, "Fuck, dude, this thing is like 9 billion pounds." But once you get going, it's like a couch, dude. It is absolutely amazing, dude. I get to the car wash, I spray it off. I'm like, I don't see no oil. I mean, it's hard to even see the freaking radiator and oil cooler anyway on this thing, right? Get it back. He's like, "Yeah, just take all the body work off of it." Dude, literally, it was 2 days taking the body work off this fucking thing, bro. It was hidden panels with these screws. You got to take this and this and this off, just expose this one screw. And it's like, and if you've never done it before, it takes a while. And then putting it back together, yeah, it was after that, I was like, "Don't never give me another Gold Wing again, please." Like, ever. I'll work on Harleys or whatever you want, but not a Gull Wing. Hilarious. Yeah.
They get back to like building an actual race bike. Even if it's just your own personal track day or like your own race bike, like your club racing, a lot of guys and girls, they get parts for their bike and they just bolt them on and they ignore everything else that just already exists there that they can do. Like, again, like the routing of things, and there's a lot of wires and sensors and things that just can be removed, or a lot of that stuff gets ignored. And like if someone that, like, if I put a proper built race bike next to like my buddy Boyd and some of the other guys, they're at Altus, like they're the R9s that they have. If you put one of those R9s next to someone else's R9 that is like their club race bike, I mean, like, they're not even the same vehicle. Even if you eliminated like the like carbon air intake stuff like that, like they're just, the way things are, they're just not even the same thing. Any of my R6s, when I build them, if you could make the frame invisible and you took another guy's and made it invisible, someone would be like, they're different. Like, this is not the same thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just all these intricate details that people just, they either ignore or leave out, route, things like that. And there's a lot of tricks too, that people don't know about that can be done to really like modify and upgrade their bike. So like, for instance, this is a really good one. If you've got a like stock radiator on like a GSXR 600 or a CBR 600 or an R6, or it could even be a GSXR 1000 or anything like that, and you live in a part of the country or the world that the air is like, it doesn't cool very well just because of the ambient environment. Neat little trick you could do is where the water leaves the radiator. So I'll use the R6 as an example because it's probably the most common one. This is a very easy thing. The water goes in at the top left port side of the bike, right? It comes out at the bottom and it goes into the water pump. Well, if you think of the cooling system as like a traffic going in a circle, it speeds up and slows down in certain places, right? If you put on the inside of the hose, which is probably like, it's around like a 20 mil, 22 mil, something like that, like ID. If you put like a little, like a wheel, old school wheel spacer in there from like a old, that has a 13 millimeter, like 1/2 inch ID, you just stick that in there. What happens is, as the water is going through the cooling system, when it gets in the radiator, when the pump's pulling it out of the radiator, it slows down there. So it keeps the water in the radiator for a longer amount of time. It still gets everywhere the same amount of time, but it keeps it in there for a longer amount of time as it's moving through the air. So it gets to cool down a whole lot more before it goes into that water pump and then up and into the block and into the head.
Yeah.
So it's a couple cents, essentially. Like if you've got something laying around like that, or you can just find something like anywhere, do that. You'll drastically increase your cooling potential of that radiator.
Could I do the same thing on my 51?
Yeah. 1,000%.
Yeah, that thing's notorious for running hot even on cool days, right?
Well, yeah, that's why a proper race, all like the actual race versions had front mount radiators. You know that?
Yeah, absolutely they did.
You have the side mounts.
I got the side mounts on with, but at least the SP2's got the dual radiator fans, right? But still, it's yeah. And then, you know, we was also talking about that trick you was showing me at Ryder Davis's R6 with the front axle.
Which one?
Were you talking about tightening the front axle nut on? When you tighten it up, brings the fork in.
Oh yeah, like if you put it, that's just like thousands of these things. I don't even think these as tricks, but like if you tighten all the pinch, if you just put an axle in and you tighten the pinch bolts on the fork and then you put the nut on, there is the probability of the wheel moving, even if you can't move it. Then some people are like, oh, tighten the pinch bolt and then tighten that and then tighten it. If you tighten the outside, like where the axle goes in, put the axle in, and you don't touch any pinch bolts, and you put the nut on or the bolt in, and you tighten it, and the axle spins. Just snug up all the way on the opposite side. Just one of the pinch bolts, not even tight, just to keep the axle from spinning. Tighten that nut. It pulls everything. It pulls the axle tight. But then also, if you don't do this, if you don't loosen that pinch bolt and you go ahead and tighten all the pinch bolts, you move to that fork like that. And like that's an extreme amount, but you did that. You bent it in. So if you loosen all the pinch bolts back up again after you've tightened the outside nut or bolt, the forks will be it'll go back out again, and then you can snug up everything because that fork doesn't matter where it is on there as long as it's straight on there.
Yeah,
like there's 1,000 things like that.
Yeah,
same thing with there's rear axle setups. There's like never if you take your rear shock off and put it back on, do everything you can to tighten up the linkage bolts and nuts and the shock clevis bolts and nuts and everything else while it's under a load, not free, because there is actually play there. You know, if you tighten that stuff up when there isn't play, it'll slowly move, and then it changes a lot of things, because especially if you're measuring things out to be precise.
It makes sense. Yeah, 110%. It makes sense. How did you and AJ Peasley get together?
He was a client at EDR, and I think the first time I met him was he needed a shocks. Like I showed up at the track, they needed a shock spring changed, and I had the shock spring compressor there, so I popped the shock off his R6, changed the spring, and popped it back on. It was like 6 minutes to do, like taking your time. And they were like, "Holy shit, we did that like a couple weeks ago. It took us like 20 minutes to take it off, 20 minutes to put it on, and that wasn't even the time to change the spring in between when we took it to the suspension guys." I'm like, well, you saw me do it, so now you know it's easy to do. So I think that was like our first meeting or the first time we met. So
love it, man. It's good stuff.
Yeah. But then he wanted to race a Hooligan's bike. You know this whole story, like how he got into that.
Yeah.
So he didn't have anyone to help him out or anything. So I was like, I'm not doing anything right now, besides like working a day job here. So I was like, I'll give you some help. And then just ended up doing that. So, but I was already like working with Andy a little bit here and there, and a couple other guys at the same time. I just kind of merged into AJ because I think like AJ is not the fastest guy in the world, but he's one of the nicest and most genuine people that I know. That he actually he wants to do better, and he strives to do better. He puts real work and effort into what he does, while maintaining a full-time job and everything else that he's got going on in life. And it's just it takes a lot to be able to do that. And I have so much respect for him for like the amount of effort and the drive and just the dedication he has to just doing this, because he knows, he's like, I'm not going to be able to do this forever, and I've got, you know, a several year span of where I can, you know.
So I want to make the best of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he doesn't do it where he just wants to just exist out there. He legitimately tries. So, and
I see it. Yeah.
let me tell you, does he try? So
that's how me and AJ met, was through you at Ohio last year.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
100%. You was like, dude, this is AJ. You need to get him on the podcast. I was like, done. Let's go.
Oh yeah.
Let's do it. Yeah. Absolutely awesome, man. Yeah. He's and then I met his parents. Lovely people again.
Oh yeah, they are.
Yeah. Special.
Yeah.
So is AJ going to be there this weekend, next weekend? I mean,
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so. No, I mean, actually, no, definitely not. So, but hey, you got like 1 minute? I don't have I don't have my laptop plugged in. I gotta go grab the cable for it.
Yeah, go ahead.
It just got the low
the battery. No, you good. I'm gonna use restroom real quick. So listen, you guys,
right.
we're gonna take a break real quick. We'll both be right back. All right. coming back in? You're not gonna come in here and cause me trouble because I kick you out. Right. So 131. All right.
Good girl.
Yeah, I got both my dogs in here with me too. Little shits is what they are.
She's not.
But Fiona's my puppy. We had her. You want to go out real quick? All right, I'm gonna let her out. Hang on.
Okay.
Come on, Bubba. You want to go out? All right. So, picking up where we left off, how did this whole Daytona thing come about to be for next weekend for you?
Oh, I'd rather not go into that
Okay.
right now because that's
All
kind
right.
of like a not public thing yet.
Okay. No problem.
For the rider and everything.
Yeah, no worries.
It's kind of like
man.
a surprise thing.
Love it, man.
Yeah.
I love it, dude. It's
I told you about it just for obvious reasons, but
listen, it's an absolute honor, and can't wait to have a road trip and spend the weekend together, man, with everybody. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Definitely looking forward to it, man. What's your plans for 2026? Look, my wife's calling me. I'm live on the podcast. Let me answer this real quick. Hello?
Yeah.
Hello?
Hello?
What are you doing?
Nothing. I'm pissed off
Why?
because I tried to do something nice for myself and get my nails and toes done. It looked like shit.
I'm sorry.
I could have done it myself.
Well, now you know not to go back to that place. Yeah, I'm sorry. Oh.
Good girls.
No, that's all right. When you come home, we'll just. That's fine. All right. Well, I'll see you when you get home, babe. All right. I love you. All right. Bye. All right. No worries, because I'll edit all this out anyway.
Oh,
She was mad, boy. I don't blame her. I'd be
nice.
pissed too.
Would you get her nails done or something?
Yeah, and she said they suck ass, and they just, yeah.
First time going there, I guess. I don't know. I've never gotten my nails done, so
no. Every once in a while, I'll go with her to get my feet done. Just it's something me and her go together and do. But she likes to go. The normal girl she goes to, she quit where she was at. She ain't went anywhere else yet, so she tried somewhere new, and apparently it sucked ass. So
that
happens.
Like in every industry and field. So
110%. Which brings me a good point to tell people, man. Listen, if anybody out there needs any motorcycle parts, gear, whatever it is, man, keep it within the industry. Don't order that shit off of Temu and Amazon or Walmart or any of that. Keep it within the industry. Trust me, I know a lot of people. I can get you anything you need. Hit me up. I'll point you in a direction. Because that's actually hurt our industry too, as well.
Yeah. So. That can do a big like large amount of damage to smaller independent shops that are, especially the guys that are just 90% of what they do is brake pads, tires, valve adjustments, clutches, air filters type stuff, you know. And when someone shows up there and they're like, hey, I needed new brake pads and rotors. I got these rotors and pads, and I got these tires, and I got, you know, believe it or not, I mean, probably you'd know this, like, even on the labor side, like, even if the shop's charging like $150 an hour for labor, which is actually like not really high anymore, they're still like, they're not making a ton there.
No.
Like, people ignore the overhead costs every time they pay for something, especially a labor rate. They just, the fact of like what the overhead is of having a shop and the equipment and tools and all of that stuff, it just goes right over their head, and they just think about, I only make $25 an hour, I only make $30 an hour, I only make $15 an hour, I only make, right? And they go, why am I paying this guy this much to do, like, per hour to do this? It's like, dude, you have no idea how much of that is coming out and going to everything else that is allowing him to even be able to do that. Like,
yeah, it's ridiculous.
The diagnostics equipment alone. If you want to have a Texas diagnostic setup, which is like, if you're going to be working on any motorcycle after 2015 or even after 2010 for some, you know, you need to have that. And you're talking, by the time you get all the cables and everything else on top of the software and the other hardware, like, you're thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on top of the $1,300 to $1,800 minimum a year for the subscription to be able to, for everything to work.
Yeah, it's and now most dealerships, they won't even work on your bike if it's 10 years or older.
Well, yeah, new. Well, the reason for that is there's not a lot of people that know how to work on the older things. That's another big problem in the industry.
100%
problem in the industry is
100%.
Kids not knowing. And I used to, if someone applied for like, or they wanted to work at like LTD racing, for example, if they told me that it's going to sound terrible, but if they told me that they went to Wyotech or MMI, that was an immediate no. Reason being is they never, ever learned the basics. They can't problem solve on their own. They need help problem solving. So you can't just hook something up and it gives you an error code and you're like, oh, that's it. Doesn't work that way. Sometimes it does. A lot of times it does, but they don't learn how to think deeper into it. They literally get taught like that in a nutshell, you know, to be very dependent on all these other factors that are helping them, like diagnostic equipment. And it's like, dude, that's just another wrench. Man.
Yeah, it's just another tool. That's all it is.
Yeah. Like, you know, did you check compression? Yeah, I did. It's bad. Cylinder 1 has lower compression, or this or that. It's like, okay, so what are you going to do? I think it needs a new engine. I've had kids tell me this that I've worked with. I'm like, what? I'm like, okay, so do you want to check, like, is the exhaust valve in that cylinder tight or something? You know, do you want to check that? Oh, why? They don't know what could cause that. They just know that this test, if I get this result, like, that's bad. They don't know what is all the different things that can do that, because they don't know. They're not taught how things really work. They're not taught how an engine actually works. They're not talked about that. They're not told all the little tiny intricacies of if this is going on, what this could be.
No, it's all basic. I was there. It's all basic shit. Is all it is.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just basic. Put it to you this way: they didn't even show us how to put a chain on.
Yeah. So
and I was like, dude, like, I was telling my buddy, he's like, what? Really? I'm like, yeah, dude, we paid whatever, 50 grand, whatever it was. I can't remember what it was. And it's like,
they'll show you things and teach you things that are actually, like, way more advanced that you shouldn't, that it's clouding your mind, right? Already. It's like, it's information that you don't need yet. You know, it's like, why are you even go? It's like they teach them how to jump from, okay, here's the problem. Let's not start at step one. Like, just go right to step, like do step one and, like, run a diagnostic on it, and then, like, go to step 4. Don't do anything else. Don't think about anything else. And that's how you get a lot of, like, upset. This is the exact reason what you brought up. Like, most places won't work on vehicles that are older than 10 years. It's because you have to do all this basic stuff. Like, there is no diagnostic tool for those things, right? Guys don't know how to do that. And then you can get to really advanced stuff where, I mean, like, vehicles having chatter in the front end, you know, the clutch being slightly out of adjustment on the slipper can cause that. Like, tell that to someone, and they'll be like, oh, wow, I didn't know that. But tell a student that went to Wyotech or MMI or something like that, and they'll go, wow, I didn't know that. And then you'll go, so can you tell me how? They won't be able to tell you how, because they don't know how. They weren't taught necessarily, like, how a slipper clutch works, or how how the clutch actually works, and how under certain deceleration points, like, that can happen. I mean, you can also fight chatter in the front end. Like, we did it once 15 years ago. In, like, 2 days, we were trying to figure out, like, why there was this crazy amount of chatter in the front end. And it was because we were 1 weekend too late after, like, 4 race weekends of changing out rear shock linkage bearings. There was just a lot of play. So all that movement in the rear end, it was translating through the chassis. Yeah. It goes to the handlebar, which is the number one point between the rider and the bike.
Yeah.
So a lot of chassis issues will feel like they're front end issues when they're in fact not. Especially almost every single time under braking, you'll feel like there's a front end issue, and it's not a front end issue. That's the only thing it feels like it is, though. So you have to you have to really think really backwards on a lot of this stuff. And data helps out a lot with that, obviously.
Yeah, for sure.
But it gets extra confusing when you look at data. Like, if you look at front end data and it shows chatter, and then you pull the forks completely apart, and you're like, there's nothing here. And this is the exact same setup that we had the last race weekend. So then you have to go, okay, well, what changed? It's like, oh, this. It's like, well, no, that's impossible for that to cause this. I mean, I'm trying to say this without going into too many details to give some things away, because I don't want everyone to know about all these little things. So
no, you're good. You're good.
There's you have to look deeper into things a lot of time, almost all the time.
Yeah. See, MMI was just all basic. Like I said, they didn't even show us how to properly put on a chain, right? Another thing.
I never went to any of these.
I did. I went to MMI. So, yeah.
I know you did. That's why I kind of brought it up too.
Yeah. It was, I mean, you know, as far as, you know, somebody that's never split cases and, you know, had to take a dirt bike motor and split the cases, take the transmission C1, C2 and all this and put it all back together and make it run. That was like the coolest thing I did there, to be honest with you. Right. Then we had like a week of dyno, but it was like 2 days of dyno where everybody there, all the students had their own bikes. We get to run them on the dyno. And then a little bit of cam profile, but other than that, they didn't really show us too much more as far as, you know, performance goes. Cause they said most of the shops you go in is not going to be performance related anyway. You're going to have to go to a performance shop, get a job there in order to get into flows and benches and all that other shit. So
when you guys were doing the dyno stuff for that day or two, did they try to emphasize and teach on how the dyno is a tool for diagnostics?
A little bit. They didn't get too deep into detail in any of that because there's, you know, 30, 40 students and there's 30, 40 bikes. We got 2 days on the dyno. So it was just like, hey, your bike makes this much horsepower. Hey, check this. This is how you do it. You plug it in here. You hook this up. You strap this down, you know, and basic, very, very basic. So yeah, I mean, it was still cool.
I mean, like the dyno is the number one thing. I hate test riding. Like if I have a dyno around, I won't test ride at all. And a dyno is the easiest way to tell. Like, oh, I got a bad fuel pump. You just run on the dyno and see it, watch it go. Like, oh, my bike won't rev past 7,000 RPM. Someone tells me that, I almost immediately I'm like, oh, fuel pumps. No, it's not that fuel pump. I
hear it prime when I turn the key.
Yeah, I'm like, okay. And then, you know, I'm like, you put on the dyno, you can watch the air fuel ratio just
spike. Yep.
Go insane. It's like, oh yeah. Are you sure that's not an injector? It's too much. You can see there's a lot of things that like they don't teach.
Yeah. That
I could go into where you can see things. I mean, you can figure out transmission issues. Like back in, I think it was like 2017, this guy had a RC8 and Stefano actually wrote it. And there was this crazy issue where when they decel from about like 120 miles an hour down, it ended up being like, it was like this like weird chatter thing would show up through the engine would shake and rear wheel would hop and stuff like that. And it would only be in third gear, and it would do it a little bit on acceleration, but you had to be a wide open throttle. And so they took this RC8 race bike to the dealership in Miami, and the guys were like, "There's nothing wrong. There's nothing in the oil pan. We test rode it and didn't feel anything." And in my head, I'm like, "You guys, okay, you're telling me like one of your technicians took this on the Palmetto Expressway in Miami, 120 plus miles an hour, and at wide open throttle, and didn't feel it, and then decelled it and didn't feel it?" Like, yeah, he did. I'm like, no, he didn't. He'd fucking be in jail right now. You know? Like, yeah, and then also you're gonna allow one of your technicians?
Employees,
no, we don't allow. I'm like, so then you didn't do it, you know? And they're like, anyway, Kate, they were like, we're not putting in a warranty claim for a transmission issue into KTM because we don't. They did ride it, and there's no issue. I put on a dyno and then recorded deceleration runs. So like, literally looks like the opposite of horsepower and torque. It's horsepower and torque,
and then
going like this, and you could see all of this, like these these crazy spikes in certain places. And I'm like, look, there's a driveline issue. I'm putting a load under the driveline on decel, especially when I put the brake on, it would like really spike it. So I presented that, like I gave it to the owner of the bike, the paper, and he took it there. And then I called them. I explained to them what that was. I ended up getting a total warrant, like complete warranty on the transmission. Guess what? Third gear had half a tooth with half the tooth missing, and it was jerking it.
Yeah. But
you could only tell under a heavy low in third gear. So, yeah.
Dyno's a wonderful thing.
Dynos, man. There's like a lot of things that they don't teach, but like I was taught that, but not at a school.
Yeah.
You know?
It's
by working with the people that I've worked with.
Yeah, I mean that's honestly where you gain the most knowledge anyway. Is hands-on and people knowing what to do and show you all the little tricks of the trade. And not so much school. It's all basic anyway. I mean, it was easy. MMI was easy. It wasn't a difficult school to pass at all. You just had to apply a little bit of yourself. And it was it was so basic. Unless you just had no interest in it at all, then
it's fantastic as a start, as getting like an acceleration, like 100%. Like a faster starting point. But a lot of guys just depend on that for the rest of their thing, and then they don't want to learn or listen to someone else.
I wonder if they still show you how to work on carburetors, because I went in 98, 99. That was when fuel injection first started coming. Yeah, 1,000% they probably don't. But that's when fuel injection first started taking off, right? The 98 Gixxer 750 was fuel injected.
So that TT 600 Triumph that I had.
Yeah.
That was the very, very. I had a year 2000. It was, I think they came out with that bike in 99. That was the first 600cc sport bike that was fuel injected. Mm-hmm. That's how new that was.
Yep.
It's like the F4i didn't come out till like 01 or 02.
Oh, yeah. That's right. 0102. Yeah.
I think.
I want to say 04.
Right. Well, because the 600 RR came out in 04.
Yeah, 03. That's right. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. You're right. Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
So that's I can almost guarantee you they don't teach.
So that was a big thing there with the carbs, right? The carb bikes, because that was in.
Yeah, they don't teach. Every technician that's under 30 years old that I know, they don't know
shit about
unless the only time they know is if they've been like they either like grew up playing around with dirt bikes or they came from a dirt bike shop.
Yeah.
Even then they're not that great. Like they can't tune a car. They're just like take it apart, put it back together.
A parts replacer.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because now I think about the fuel injection section that we had there, it was only like 2 or 3 days because it wasn't like a whole lot of information that they even had, right? It was just basically like the wiring harness reads off the ECU and the TPS, the throttle position sensor and the servo motor and this and that. And that's how all this communicates together. And so it was just the basic layout and kind of understanding on how everything kind of worked, but there was no really shit. They didn't even have a fuel injection bike there. Put it to you that way. So
no.
Yeah, everything we did was carbs. So it was now it's like you say carburetor, like what the fuck's a carburetor? You're like, wait.
Well, I mean, even are all the like the TO 1000s
they're fuel injected.
98, they're all fuel injector. Like that that was brand new.
Yeah, brand new. The only fuel injected bike that I knew of before then was the Ducati 851. I mean the 94 when they come out with the 916 was fuel injected.
Yeah, 916. I think that was like a 96. Yeah, like, and it's very, very, very rudimentary fuel injection.
Yeah, very. I mean, even my RC51's fuel injector still got a manual choke. It's basic fuel injection. Even that.
Yeah, they're. I mean, there's fuel injectors alone too. They're kind of horrendous compared to like
now
25 years later.
Well, I always wondered if I could like upgrade the fuel injectors on my 51 for like a newer, like off a CBR 1000, like just slide a CBR 1000 injectors in there, and then obviously I got the Power Commander 5, so I have to go in there and play with the.
No, you don't have. It doesn't necessarily mean the same brand, like manufacturer, but the same manufacturer of the actual fuel injectors. You can get different sizes that can fit. I mean, there might be a fuel injector out of a 2015. Well, probably not 15 is direct injection, but like a newer, later model Porsche that fit on your. You just have to find out like what the sizes are, and then for connecting it, you just have to know if it's a low impedance or high impedance injector. There's only 2 different ones, and that's not a hard thing to figure out. And it's just 12 volt and ground. You can't mess it up.
Yeah.
You can just put bigger injectors in, or you don't necessarily need to upgrade to bigger injectors. What you can do is upgrade to more holes. So your RC51 probably has like 4-hole injectors that when it opens up, sprays out of 4 holes, and it sprays. I'm just gonna make up a number right now. 100 liters per hour. But like you can go to a 12-hole injector that will allow the same amount of fuel to go through, but it's coming out of 12 holes instead of 4, which means it's atomizing a lot earlier and a lot more complete, which means like if you just did that right off the bike or right off the bat, the vehicle is going to run leaner. You're going to need to add more fuel to it. Because it's going to be burning all that fuel a lot more.
Yeah. That makes sense. 100%. Yeah. I like it, man. I like the carburetors back in the day. I mean, they were kind of a pain in the ass sometimes because you had to, when you got the jet kit, you put it in, you had to take it out and test it, come back, take the tank, the air box, the car's back off, blah, 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 blah. It was,
I hate them.
He said, I hate them. It was, but you know, it was, it's just different, a different way of doing things back in the day.
It's just not as precise anymore.
It's not.
When they first came out, it was a little bit more precise, but didn't work as well. Like it used to be, you know, like if you had a Mustang with like a 302 Windsor on it, and you were going to build an engine for it, you'd want to convert it to a carburetor because it would make more power. They would. Not today anymore.
Mm-mm.
But in like the year 2005, they would. So
100%. Dude, John, one question I did have for you, man, that I love the rotary valve motorcycles, right? Like the Nortons and that one, it's the Crichton, the CR7. Bro, what do you think about that, dude? You hear them, you see them. It's like, dude, they're so badass, dude. What do you think about that?
They're fantastic. just wouldn't. Seeing the production version of one would be incredibly difficult. It would take some real engineering, I think, for them to meet like Euro 5 plus emissions. That's a problem. The other problem with rotaries is they wear out fast. The seals and the bearings, they wear out incredibly fast because they're ran almost. Is a terrible example, but it's like a two-stroke where the gasoline is mixed in there with the bear. So they work amazing, and for the size of the engine, I mean, I don't think there's a better power plant essentially, but until someone comes up with really magical materials, it's kind of like a pipe dream.
Yeah.
Man, I mean, that's why you don't see Mazda. Mazda doesn't have one right now. Mazda's, I think Ford was the first one with a rotary. I think. I can't remember what, but Mazda kind of became like
known for it. Yeah.
Right. But the RX-8 was the last rotary.
Yep, it was.
Right.
One of my dream cars is a 94 RX-7 twin turbo. Man, it thing's so badass. They sound so good. Nothing sounds like a rotary motor, man. It just got this unique, its own sound. You either love it or you don't, right? Same thing. It's just
I love them
too. Me too.
That same time I was working with the cars in 04 when I was in high school. I got to go over and work with I think it was a quad rotor RX-7.
Dude, they're just badass.
Like, sequential shift.
Yep.
Proper race car, like rotary, and that thing was insane. But guess what? That engine was constantly. It was like every 2 or 3 weekends. That thing was
new seals, all that. Yeah, for sure. They're one of my best friends in high school, his mom's ex-boyfriend, he was really big into Mazda rotary engines. He worked on them all the time out of his house. Had a whole garage set up, always had motors taken apart. And that's how I kind of learned about the rotary engine, the insides of it, how it works. And yeah, I was like, dude, this thing is badass. Like, it's just because it's just different. It's unique. Just like the valve train on Ducati, the Desmos Adichie heads, right? 2 valves per,
rocker
2 valves with the rocker arm. The cam lobe opens and closes. There's no mechanical springs or any of that. So you don't have valve float. You got more precise valve time. And same thing with your gear driven camshafts versus your cam chain. It's just a different way of approaching. And I was always very interested in the rotary engines. And then when I heard Crichton come out with that 700, Guy Martin went out there and tested it. I think maybe it might have been at Cadwell. Man, I watched that YouTube video like 35 times because, man, that sound is just unique. I actually seen a Norton when I was out there in the UK at Hickman's place. A guy had one on display. And they had the RCV 212 street bike, that there, which was insane looking. I mean,
that's the only that bike. That's the only real, like, besides
the Desmos Adichie.
No,
the D16.
I don't consider that a MotoGP production bike.
It's a badass bike, but yeah,
it is a badass bike, and it's so detuned and it's so different. It does have the components on that engine are made very differently. The chassis made differently. The swing arms different. There's a lot of components on that were made different than the actual GP bike. I
Of course, to save cost for them to sell it, right? Like,
of
100%,
course. Well,
yeah.
that's why I don't consider that like. But the Honda, that's as close that it exists right now.
Yeah, because that thing new was
Reason
like
how-
what, 150 grand?
I think it was well over two. I think it was closer
Okay.
to two.
225 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But see, that's why I'm talking. Like the Desmo Sedici RR was in 08 when it was new.
Yep.
That was, I think, like
65,
65,
75,
right?
something
So
like that. Yeah. It's a big difference.
the other one, granted, there's a couple years in between, but not that many years, right?
No.
Like it's not that much inflation.
No. And I always thought it was weird how when they did release that bike, it only made stock, whatever, unless you bought the $10,000, $20,000, whatever kit for it, made like what, 100.
Well, that's because the exhaust is extremely restricted.
Yeah.
They still like, I mean, like depending on the dyno, they're anywhere from like 190 to 200. There's a lot back then, but
he's got a lot to say. I love it.
yeah. Oh, so this is Sabine.
Sabine, love
I
it.
named her after Sabine Schmitz, the queen of the Nürburgring.
No, she's gorgeous.
Thank you. She was born just, I mean, like a month or so after Sabine Schmitz passed away, and every dog or cat I've ever had is always named after something motorsports related.
Love it.
And I couldn't name her Shelby because that would be just too, it's got to be unique. So
I love it, man. Yeah, no, I get it. It's yeah, my dog, her name's Princess Fiona after I decided to keep her name after Shrek, Princess Fiona on Shrek. It just suits her though, so I was like, let's just keep it. But going back to that RC, man, that was my first time actually seeing one in real life. I've seen them in magazines, and honestly, and the first time I seen the Desmo Sedici D16 RR was at Indy in 08, first year of the MotoGP there, and a guy pulled up on one, and I was like, dude, this thing's just mint. But looking at it and studying it, and then looking at that RCV, man, it's a night and day difference. It really is.
Yeah. There was a funny thing with the Desmo Sedici. This doesn't really have a lot to do with that Desmo Sedici. It has to do with like some Ducati clientele. This guy, I won't name names, but if someone ever watches this that was around back then, they'll know. He wanted his first motorcycle in Miami, and he went to the Ducati dealer, and this is a very well-off artist, and they sold him a Desmo Sedici RR, brand new, for his first motorcycle.
That's crazy.
And in the first 3 or 4 months of ownership, he dropped it 2 or 3 times, like fell over just at parking lot speed or dead stops. And so we're talking, it was anywhere from like $10,000 to $15,000 in damage overall in the first 3 months of ownership that his insurance paid. And he went through 3 clutches in the first like 4 to 6 months, if I'm correct.
Mm.
And then also he had a very terrible engine failure where like engine just would not turn over anymore all of a sudden. And he only rode it in stop and go traffic in South Beach, like Miami Beach, going up and down Ocean Boulevard, and it like almost never went on the highway. But even if he did, he putted it around so much, it built up so much carbon on top of the piston and on the bottom of the cylinder head and on the valves. It literally had piston to valve contact and piston to head contact.
Holy shit.
It built up such a massive layer of carbon.
That's insane.
Ducati had to warranty new pistons and valves, and they had to clean the heads. It was a $32,000, $34,000, $35,000 warranty job.
That's almost half the cost of a bike.
But they had to warranty it.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. It's what a beautiful machine though, man. You still look at them today. I still want one. It's still one of my dream bikes to have, for sure.
The costs of the parts are very different with Ducati than what the cost of the bike is. So, like a 2020. Hey, I'm gonna put you outside. I'm gonna put you in the rest of the house in a moment. A 2021 V4 Street Fighter. What does that cost? Or what new? That was
24 grand.
Okay. So Ducati, please don't get fucking mad at me for saying this. We had one at Beverly Hills that guy bought it, and they couldn't have sold it to the most wrong person, because this is one of those people that would that flip the fuck out over any little thing. He came back for his first his 600-mile oil change after he had already came back after 100 miles and got a low oil light on. So we're like, oh, did Ducati not put oil? There was oil in it when it was delivered. So filled it back up with 2.5 liters of oil.
Holy shit.
And then 600-mile service. That engine in total is about 4 liters if it's completely dry, and a oil change is about 3.5 with a filter. There was less than a liter of oil that came out of it at the 600-mile service. We didn't, and had no leaks or anything like that. And it started running really weird. So did a diagnostic setup on it, and it didn't really show too much, because Ducati also, that bike, there's only one O2 sensor for the front bank and for the rear, not individual cylinder ones. I put a bore scope down in it, and cylinder number 3, which is the left rear, it's completely caked. You pull the spark plug out, and it was just caked in carbon and just fouled out crazy. And put a bore scope in there, and you look around, it's just crazy looking. Only cylinder 3. Someone at the factory on a Friday, we joke about it, they didn't put any piston rings on cylinder number 3.
Okay.
So instead of letting us take that engine apart and just put piston rings on it and put it back together, Ducati didn't want any photos of that to somehow come out. So they just warranted the entire engine. So they shipped a brand new crate engine. Not including the labor, the actual cost of the new engine warranty cost was $18,000.
Holy shit.
So people complain about Ducati's costs, a lot. And I'm like, yeah, they really mark up. You made me think of that when I talked about like the warranty cost of the other one, and you're like, that's almost half the bike. I'm like, I got one that's like 80% of the bike. That shit happens.
It does. It's rare.
They'll warranty it immediately.
Yeah, I heard about BMW having some issues with their newer bikes too, as well.
They've always had issues
as far as their motors go, and if you tune them at all and they're new, totally voids the warranty.
There's ways around that.
I'm sure there probably is.
If I do, usually if I which I'm doing that again now. Working with someone in the next week or two, be up and fully operational. Doing all the ECU work I do. But there's a way to flash those BMW ECUs without the manufacturer knowing that they were flashed. Like, there's actually a patch you can write into the bin file and on the writing protocol. So they'll never know, and they can't. They think their warranty can't get voided.
They're beautiful bikes too. God, they're so beautiful. There's BMWs.
A lot of power.
Make a shit ton of power. It's crazy. Yeah. It's crazy now that we could buy a bike that's got over 200 horsepower for the street.
They make a lot of power. They make way more than that.
Oh, I know they do, but I'm just saying basic.
If you do actual individual cylinder tuning as well, they get up like I'd say like a brand new, like a 2025 M1000RR with the correct electronics and just a couple little tiny things, nothing super expensive. You could be at 220 at the wheel all day long.
That's nuts, man.
Yeah.
That's just nuts.
Same thing with the Ducati V4s and the Aprilias. All of them. You're 220 plus if you really want. It's if I flashed an ECU on a new Ducati V4, depending on the dyno, you're either at 200 or you're at 210. But then if we wanted to do like actual work, you want to spend a little bit more on perfecting everything, we bump it up another 10 horse easily. It's just about like how much, like the actual time spent on perfecting everything.
Yeah. Speaking of BMW, I'm excited about Top Rack coming to MotoGP next year, and I hope he wins the title this weekend, man. I'm pulling for Top Rack hard.
He's going to win the championship. Now, him in MotoGP, if I was going to be realistic about it, based off of everyone, like history, it's going to be a little difficult. He's not going to show up and be like, here I am. As adaptive as he is, like he quickly adapts, right? He's very fast, quickly adapts. It's just someone can say, well, at this track, they're only, like their lap time for qualifying is only like, 1.5 seconds slower than, like this, the MotoGP, this. The chassis are so different. The tires are so different. It is a real learning curve. And it's not something that you can just do a test day and then another test day, and then like 2 or 3, even like 4 or 5 like whole test days. It's a real workup. It's very long time ago. If you think back, obviously, you can look at like a lot of guys. It was an easy jump from like AMA Superbike or World Superbike or Australian Superbike to MotoGP.
Facts.
When was the last time someone jumped from World Superbike to MotoGP?
It's been a while. It's been a long while. Like there've been one-off rides like Johnny Ray. He did okay on his couple rides. He got like 7th, I think, if I remember, in one of the races on the Honda. But nobody really full time that's come in and done anything. No,
it's a very, very difficult.
It's difficult. Yeah, 100%. I agree.
Well, like, I mean, even like, remember when Josh went and did MotoGP in like 2011 or 12 or something?
Yeah, he did the Moto 2 class. Yeah.
No. Hayes.
Yeah, Josh Hayes. Yes. He did that one-off ride at was it Laguna Seca?
On the Tech 3. No, it was at like
Donington, maybe.
No, it was like Aragon or something.
Okay.
It was but and it's like fantastic job. Josh got 7th, but it was wet.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, even Ben Spies.
No.
That
he won one race at Assen.
Yeah.
Colin Edwards never won a race. Ever. He came close, but he fucked it up at Assen going through. Yeah, man. Nicky Hayden ended up winning that race, dude. That was a crazy race. But yeah.
I think also this is not saying anything negative. It's also about like your drive and your will. But I'm pretty sure that Nicky Hayden might have some kind of a record. I don't know. It's just bet I can look it up though. If he's not the like at the number one, like in golf terms of wins in a season and a championship, like he's 2nd or 3rd. I think he might be like the person that won a championship with the least amount of wins that year.
Just besides Jan Mir. Jan Mir won one race when he won the title. What was his?
Okay,
that's it.
That's why I was like, I can't really. I'm not sure, but like,
there's only very few. Yeah, there's not a lot of people that won one
Nicky,
race.
I think only had 3 wins.
That's it.
Right?
3 wins. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yep. Like it's every other year. You're going back to 89.
Kenny
500
Roberts,
GP, your champions they dominated the whole year, right? I mean, how many wins did Doohan win every year that he got his 5G, right? How many wins did Rossi have? But consistency, though, is like I always tell the guys, right? I'm like, consistency is what wins you championships.
100%.
Unless you're riding against one of those guys. Then you're kind of
then the game changes for sure.
Then you're kind of screwed. But
then the game changes. Yeah, it's but it it's exciting times, and also was saying that this weekend, it's Johnny Ray's hanging up his leathers and retiring. Come to an end of an era. Johnny Ray, man. Yeah, thank you for all the emotions throughout the years. I mean, he's an absolute legend of the sport. Absolute legend of the sport. I always wondered, honestly, if he would have made the switch to GP back in the day, after a couple World Superbike championships, I think he would have done okay. I really do.
Yeah. So like going back to that transition there, it's even worse today.
Oh, 100%. especially with all the aero and ride height devices and
Well, yeah. On top of that, the chassis, like I said, are so different. And the tires everything's so much stiffer, and it requires a different level of precision. It's just you can be really good at riding a GP bike, and then just absolute shit riding a production based bike. I mean, like, that's one of the problems that the kids have today. They don't ride any, like here in the States, they don't ride any proper GP bikes.
It's all production. Yeah.
I mean, even their I mean, like, even the they were doing the Ovale stuff, and then the Kramer bikes that they have for that. Those aren't proper GP bikes. The European kids are riding proper GP bikes when they're 8 years old.
8, 9, 10, 11. Yes.
And it's a different kind of motorcycle.
It is. It's a different type of feel.
And they're learning more about setup and how the bike works with this, if we do this, if we do that. And then like how, like, different types of changes and how it affects everything. The kids here don't learn that. They're not learning that at all, because they're growing up working with their dad and their dad's friend at the track. And they're over there, they're working with guys that actually know what they're doing, you know, and teaching them and like how the motorcycle is working underneath them. The kids here, they don't learn how the motorcycle works and how it's working underneath them. They just get taught like riding skills.
Yeah.
And when you change from a production-based bike or I could call it like an American GP bike, it's completely different.
100%.
Than an actual GP bike.
Well, that's why you have riders like, you know, and I often use the term back in the day, like you had, you know, people making a living in the 250 two-stroke class, right? They made a living. They went to the 500s. They were utter shit. It's just like today, you got Moto3 riders that go to Moto2 bikes, and they just can't wrap their head around it, but they're proper Moto3 riders, right? Mm-hmm. Same thing with Moto2. You get Moto2 riders that either go to GP or and then you got some like Nicola Bulaga in Moto2, right? Wouldn't really set the world on fire, went to World Superbike on production racing, and dude, he's really the only one that can take it to Top Rack. So
there was, if you go back and you look, no, that's a terrible example, but there, you know, forget that. I don't want to go into that.
Right. That'd be another hour-long conversation for sure.
Yeah, that's a different.
We'll save that for the road trip next week.
Yeah,
for sure. Well, look, John, dude, we're 2 hours and 30 minutes into this podcast.
Oh, it's nothing, man.
I know it's nothing. But I'm gonna have to get off here soon. I got to go to my parents' house. We're going over there for dinner, and there's a couple things I got to do before we leave here. But yeah, dude, John, listen, I absolutely enjoyed this. I
got like a quarter of the way through.
I know, but no worries, because me and you, we will. I can't even talk right now. We will definitely do our part 2. It's when you come pick me up on Wednesday on the road trip. We will.
Okay.
We'll go ahead and schedule that out, and looking forward to it, man. Because me and you got still a lot to talk about. I love, you know, everybody brings their own unique perspective and knowledge to the game. It's the puzzle pieces. Like I always say, every puzzle piece is just as important as all the others. And the way you approach it, your methodical way of approaching things, subject wise, electronic wise, suspension setup, this and that is definitely a unique. And I love it.
Yeah, I try not to go super like too deep into that stuff for people, but maybe like next time.
I love it, man. I think it's great, man, because I'm a mechanic and I love that. And I see it and I'm like, bro, that's like genius for real. It's like, it takes that. outside looking in just a different, unique way, and that's what you bring to it. And it's very special, John. So, and you, my friend, is an absolute legend in the game, man. You bring so much knowledge, not only for the motorcycle aspect, but for a rider aspect, meaning that I'm gonna use AJ as an example, right? And I often say this all the time. People walk through the paddock and they see, AJ walking around, and it's not only AJ that's performing good, but it's the people behind him that makes him perform good too, as well, right? And you just bring this unique energy, and you said it about me, right? I just got this unique energy, and everybody's happy to see me and all that. Well, same thing with you. Well, when they see you come through, and you're working for somebody, man, it's a game changer for them, 110%. So I applaud you.
There's some interesting stories even from this last couple months. So
we'll definitely get into that for sure. But yeah, listen, John, this has been absolutely proper mega conversation we had for sure. I really enjoy it, man, because me and you, we actually think a lot alike. We really do.
Before I get off, real quick, I don't know if I showed you this, but I got the most amazing gift from a rider that I used to work with.
Let me see it.
About 2 weeks ago. It's one of the coolest things I've ever gotten.
Go get it. Let's check it out.
Right here.
Go get it. I'm excited.
You know Huntley Nash
mm-hmm.
story? And they tell you what, absolutely phenomenal road racer. He was whipping up on Cam and Jake
back in yes, he was.
Right? Oh. I told you what he does now.
You did?
Look what Huntley sent to me in the mail.
Bro, absolutely
he
amazing.
Sent me one of his Navy flight suits.
I love it. I love it, dude.
Complete with
his tag on it. Look at that.
Ensign JH. Isn't that neat?
That is absolutely amazing. It's proper mega for sure.
Naval Aviation Schools,
that's legit.
This is one of the nicest things, and he's just like, hey, I just wanted to thank you for all the fun, the awesome memories and doing everything that we did together back in the day. Just
love
out
it.
of the blue, man.
I love it. What's really cool about that is my dad, he's got obviously his flight suits, some of them. And one year for Christmas, me and my brother had the idea. We ordered a mannequin and we dressed it up in his full flight suit with his helmet and everything on it. And we gave it to him for a Christmas one year.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, he's got it up in his study room where he spends a lot of his time on his computer and stuff. So yeah,
I thought it was extra cool because
it's meaningful.
I was a Navy rescue swimmer, and our primary purpose of existing is to pull down pilots out of the water if they go down. And I ended up becoming his mechanic and then crew chief. And now he's a naval aviator.
Yeah.
It's like a full circle type of thing.
I love it, man. I love it.
So
I love it. Yeah. Congratulations. It's it's those unexpected things you receive from people that mean the most to you, right? It's absolute honor, man. I mean, what an honor, John. Dude, that's freaking pumped.
No, it's just a cool thing.
Absolutely, it is. Well, listen, I really enjoyed this conversation. As I always tell everybody, thank you so much for all the love and support for everybody that watches this. Hit that likes and subscribe. If you had not had a chance, please do it. This episode will be out. It's 2 hours and 35 minutes long. So give me about 30 minutes and this thing will be out everywhere, Spotify, iHeart, and all that good stuff. And John, I'm looking forward to our road trip. Thank you for the opportunity, my friend. It's going to be proper mega. And I really, look forward to spending quality time together for sure.
All right. Cool.
yeah. So John, do you want to say anything before we get off here? Any shout outs, any social media, any of that?
Oh, I think I'll keep that for the next time.
All right.
I mean, all the people that I love and have everything to owe to, they know.
I love it. Keep it simple. That's what I love, man. I love it. Well, listen, this is for all you guys and girls out there and the kids that watch and all that. That's for everybody. I hope your weekend is as proper mega as y'all. Don't forget to tune into World Superbike. On that note, real quick, big shout out to my boy B Posh and my boy Gus Rodeo from GRG Designs. If anybody needs any graphics done, helmet wraps, car wraps, bike wraps, whatever it is, look no further than grgdesigns.com. And I got two other friends that actually make graphics too as well. One is REB Graphics, Reese. Big shout out to him, and Chris Grisella at Drip and Wet. You're not going to go wrong from order from either one of those. They're all three of my friends. It's again, keep it in the industry. And on that one too,
Chris
big shout out.
Shit.
Yeah, 100%, right? And then venomsport.com for all your undersuits, and also 64-degree racing, my man Tate, for all your undersuits. So thank you guys so much for 64 Tate, dude. I love him. He sent me 2 custom undersuits, and they're absolutely my favorite. Love Aliki from Venom. She sent me 2 custom Pin the Gas podcast shirts that I've been wearing, and they're absolutely my favorite t-shirts in the world. I can't wait to place an order and get a lot more of them because they're hands down the best shirts ever. So yeah, if anybody's in the market for any of those, please look no further. Come shout out to me. My son's over here knocking on the door. I hear him knocking. But yeah, listen, this has been a lot of fun, dude. Absolute honor. It's been one in the making there for a long time, John. I'm glad we got to sit down and hash it out and have this conversation. Looking forward to our next one. And
we'll catch up soon.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, well, I'll see you Wednesday, my friend, for sure.
God willing, unless anything else happens. So
that's right. So, but
I'll be nice.
I got my contacts.
Have green and blue eyes.
I got green and blue eyes.
And yellow.
All right. You can say bye to everybody because I'm going to end the podcast.
There's nobody there.
John's there. What are you talking about?
Bye.
There was a bunch of people in here, but they left because me and John just rambling on. And people are probably watching Superbike racing. Well, it's probably over now, but so
all right.
They're gonna watch it after.
All right, John. Listen, be good, brother, man. Call me. Just give me a call later on tonight or tomorrow.
Give me a call later.
Yeah, sounds good. All right, John. I'll see you guys later.
Later.
All right, let me end this.
Calling all two-wheel enthusiasts, get ready to rev up your earbuds with Pin the Gas Podcast, the ultimate motorcycle racing podcast, hosted by Chris Simcoe, one of our very own excellent leaders here in Roanoke, Virginia. With expert analysis, behind-the-scenes stories, and exclusive writer interviews, Pin the Gas Podcast delivers the adrenaline rush of the racetrack straight to your ears. Whether you're a diehard fan or a curious newcomer, you'll gain insights that will transform how you watch and understand motorcycle racing. On your favorite podcast app, join Simcoe as he takes you on a high-speed journey through the world of motorcycle racing. Pin the Gas Podcast.